UK, but also I think Canada, Australia. Hello, Canadians. Hello, Australians, Kenyans, Nigerians. How nadi? Big up to the Kenyans. And just yeah, hello to everybody listening. It's wonderful what she's doing. I was surprised when she told me, and between her telling me and her starting, it's a quick start up, and I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. Someone listened to podcasts so much. Well done. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, so again, I need to reintroduce you because I forgot to push record. So,
Okay. These things
um,
happen.
today I'm going to introduce a friend of mine by the name of Manny. He's going to talk about his mental health, how it's declined, if it's declined during lockdown, the kind of stuff that he's done to cope with his mental health, the kind of advice he can give, the kind of charities that are there to help
Okay, yeah.
people with
Yeah.
mental health, especially men. I want to try and target all my men out there, especially black men. I'm not saying that
Mm,
white men don't go through mental health, but I'm trying to target all my black brothers. So yeah, I want to ask you, first of all, has the lockdown affected your mental health in any way? And if so, how?
okay. I would say, in a way, I've been lucky. I've been, I don't know, maybe I would even say beyond lucky. I've been truly blessed because I was even, sorry, I know my story seems to be long-winded, but quickly, very close relative of mine got locked out of the country
Oh,
and they had no money. So it now fell on me to make sure I had to provide, I had to give the money for about 4 months, almost 4 months.
okay.
And I was close to being skint. And then there was no work. I do house cleaning and, garden basics. And I was just fortunate that one, because you can, because there has to be like a gap between you and the person. And if you're in a place which is outdoors, then you can still work. And I was fortunate that when this situation arose, work started coming in dribs and drabs. I was able to feed myself. I was able to help this relative of mine. Then also, I don't know how to put it, but I kind of found some money. So that sorted out my problem. So I was fortunate, but I suppose, one, not seen it directly, seen it indirectly, how it's affected certain people. And also, I'm the kind of person sometimes when I'm on public transport, I'm always thinking, what's going to happen to all the kids that are stuck at home? People who are stuck in cramped conditions with two or three children and they're homeschooling, even people who are in a relationship whereby, and this is one thing, some people's relationships relied upon the routine whereby we both go to work, we only see each other in the night time.
Yeah.
We see a little bit at the weekend, but where suddenly that's been thrown up in the air and changed, and you're with each other 24/7. You've got nothing to say to each other. You run out of conversation. You don't have common interests. There is a problem. Those kind of people I felt sorry for. So I would say I was fortunate. My mental health wasn't affected, but if I didn't get work when I did, I don't know. Now I would have been in a right old mess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so again, if you didn't get work when you did,
Hmm.
how do you think it would have affected you mentally?
I reckon. Um, Sometimes I think the term depression, people, it is used widely, but I think sometimes maybe some of us, we might be feeling down and we say we're depressed. I think in certain situations, but I think I would have been really, really down in the dump, really down. It's as if maybe mentally I would have been, it would have been like being thrown in a well because I wouldn't know how I was going to get out of it. No money, stuck in the house. Ah, it would have been horrible. I don't know how. I just all I can say is I thank God that things worked out the way they did. I do not know how I would have got out of it. It was really it was looking at a point of looking really, really bad. So I
So,
can't be honest, don't know how I would have what I would have done.
so in your opinion, why do you think it is difficult
Mm.
for men, but especially black men? Why is it so difficult for black men to open up, to talk, to share their feelings, to share their mental state? Why, in your opinion, why do you think that is?
I think it's a variety of things. I think, and I would say, um, I suppose, let me, for now, let me use London, not just the UK, but London itself. And London is a mix of so many different cultures.
Yeah,
But I would say among the ethnic minorities, especially, and even there's this battle. Sometimes I think that there is a battle between the way we used to do things and the way we do things now, and how the world has changed. Attitudes and opinions on relationships, on a person's choices, on how a person wishes to express themselves. It's changed a great deal, and for some of us, it's hard for us to move along with this. Even male roles within society, within the family have changed. Now, we're living, I think someone has said this, if you look at it, I don't know, maybe about 100 years ago, maybe even less than that, 60 years ago, a man was expected to bring out his animalistic behavior to defend his family, to defend himself. It was the law of the jungle. There was the Second World War, there was the First World War, there was serious brutality. Even if you go beyond that, it was a case of might is right. You had to be strong. There was no room for considering a person's mental health. It was just a case of if you had any doubts, even things like PTSD and they didn't want to hear that in the army before. Nobody wanted to know that. You got post-traumatic stress disorder, you're weak. Get out of here. You're gonna die. And so the world has changed. It's less macho. We are beginning things which we dismissed and didn't give room for. Some of us who study, some of us who look into things, are realizing that those kind of things, the softer elements of our life, emotional and mental, they're key. So when you come from a more patriarchal society, when you come from a place where you're expected to be macho, where you're expected to be strong, where you're expected to go forward and to lead, there isn't much room given for you to express your feelings. Express social anxiety, nah, you're weak. Depression, you're weak. PTSD, what's wrong with you? So I think, and it's there, and I suppose it's the same way. For instance, if you look at attitudes towards how racism is tackled now, I would say Charlotte Chidi's parents, my parents, when they came here, there's a lot of things which they put up with, which we wouldn't, and which the generation below us, people in their 20s, would not.
yeah.
And there's certain words now, like microaggressions. Nobody was hearing that because you had major aggressions in those days, but you just had to deal with it. And things have changed so much. So there is this battle, I think, not just with black men, but also within the UK, Asian men, also people, Indigenous, English, Scottish, Irish, you name it. That expectation for you to be a man and strong and puff out your chest to move forward, there isn't room for you to express anxieties. And then if you do, you're considered weak. But so I know it's long-winded. Nowadays, I think people can see an equivalence between a physical ailment and a mental ailment. So if you have a broken leg, that means you can't run a marathon. And if you have depression, that means you're not able to go to work and perform because you have depression, genuine depression. If you have social anxiety, or if you have, well, schizophrenia was, I don't know enough about it, but I know that is, I think it's much more extreme and there's medication for it. But, and even with depression, there is, oh, what's the word, clinical depression, where I think that's a lack of lithium and you have to take tablets to redress the chemical imbalance in the body. So to cut a long story short, with Black men and I suppose ethnic minorities within the UK and maybe even around the world, you'll see that it is a society where men are meant to take the lead, and men having mental health problems is considered weak. I think.
Say as
Yeah,
well.
go on.
So with the because I was talking to one of my uncles about this, and I was saying to him, like, as a man, especially like if you're the first son, and especially from our culture and our background, you know, we're told, all men are told to be the man of the house. So do you think that also plays a contribution to your men's mental health? Because like at the age of, I don't know, 10 or 11, your father's gone to the farm or gone to work, and you know, you've been told to be the man of the house. So, you know, you're putting aside your childhood on the back burner, you know, just to, you know, look after your family at such a young age.
I think when, like, for instance, when you went, and this is around the world, because I think in my mind, I'm also thinking of a certain Mr. Michael Jackson who lost his childhood early because he was working, you know, he was doing what an adult was doing. And in Africa, although I would say things are changing now, in Africa and also parts of Asia, you will see children either becoming domestic assistants, as in houseboys or house girls, helping in strangers' houses, cooking, cleaning, going shopping, and they're 6 or 7. Or in certain countries, there's children who go and sell. When they come back from school, you go and sell, or you have to go and fetch water, or you've got loads of domestic things to do. So people haven't got, you don't come home and start sitting. No, some people do. There is a middle class in countries, but there's some people below the poverty line. You come home, if you do go to school, when you come home, there's going to be tasks for you to do. Sometimes no, and those kids grow up and become mature quickly and know about, they have to be strong. Sorry, a quick one is where I remember there was someone I knew, and it's not just him. There's a lot of men will say that when a male child falls down and they're young, don't hurry to pick them up, leave them. Tell them to get up and not to cry. You have to be a man about it. Don't cry, don't be weak. And I think to an extent it's changing a little. But I don't know, sometimes I'm wondering, can we find a balance? Because like I said, that thing about you were expected to, if you're going back 200 years, you're looking at a situation where there were, in parts of the world, there were village versus village battles, as well as on the largest, even in Europe and in parts of Africa and Asia, there were empires versus empires, and you were expected, anyone over 18, even sometimes over 60, whether it was a sword or a musket, you're meant to pick up a weapon and defend yourself. And so therefore, there was no room for the softer side of things, for emotions. It was just there, kill or be killed. And I think because we're now evolving into a more modern society where we're trying to leave going to war as an option. And I suppose we're examining ourselves, which there was no room for it, but there was no even understanding of it. And so we're learning to do things differently. And it's a journey. As cliched as I think, we're gradually learning mental health, the importance of it, because it's been overlooked. And I suppose some people would say, sorry, I know I'm dragging on, but some people would say maybe it's like, for instance, that whole thing with, oh, they used to beat me when I was young, never did me any harm. And that's another argument, but there's certain things which we put up with before, but in a way we do know better, or we can mix and match or take some positives from the past and align them with things from the present. And so the understanding of mental health is important. And I suppose a new realm has opened, that realm of understanding. I suppose making people more productive, because I remember there was a term 30 years ago, which was very common. This person had a nervous breakdown, and that was it. It was over for them. But now, people don't use it. It's become an outdated term. People don't use that term, nervous breakdown, anymore. And rather, the situation where there is good mental health provision in your society, and that's a big if, but if there is a good mental health provision in your society, people have been able to get better, understand how to manage, because sometimes you can't be cured, manage their situation and get on with life.
That's another thing I was going to ask you. So, in terms of mental health and medication, now,
Yeah.
do you think mental health should always be cured by medication, or do you think there's other facilities, i.e., walking or going to the gym or doing some kind of art therapy or yoga therapy? Do you feel that we should be going down other routes instead of just always going to the doctors and getting prescriptions?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's I've heard stories, and I think even some relatives of mine. My sister had mental health problems, and she had them almost for 30 years. I've got to be honest. And I remember where she was staying. I remember she was staying in this block, but I think the man who lived above her also had mental health problems. I remember her saying something about the way he had blown up, and I think there's certain medications you take that they do make a person put on a great deal of weight. There's also certain medications you take whereby you find yourself hooked on them.
Yeah.
In some cases, yeah, they're necessary. They can't, especially, I think it's things like schizophrenia. But what is happening is that obviously people are doing research. People are finding, I think it's called cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
The talking therapies, yeah. They're very, very helpful. They are very helpful. Talking through what you're going through and then finding a way of dealing with what you're going through differently. It's almost like changing your, what's the word? I wouldn't say manners, changing your pattern of behavior.
Yeah, your mindset.
Your mindset, that's the word, that's it. It's a CBT, those counseling.
Yeah.
Fortunately, in this country right now, there is a massive waiting list, which has been made worse by the lockdowns. Yeah. So I do agree. I don't know enough about it, but I do agree because I've seen some people who have been hooked onto the drugs and there's some people who've used CBT and it's worked. And I think one of the problems is that there's not enough, one of the things to be quickly defunded, one of the things that loses revenue whenever economy is harsh is mental health provision. That's it. It happens like that in this country and also some other countries the same way. And in some countries, there is no mental health provision. So so those countries where it is part of their national health service, it might be a case of, oh, we've got these cheaper drugs and it's a lot easier, because sometimes the drugs, they buy them in bulk. It's easier to just give them out. But the talking therapy, they take time. And as well as there's not enough therapists. They're looking for more, but there's not enough funding. And people feel that, oh, if I go into mental health work, I'm not going to be well paid. And it's sometimes a bit of a dangerous job. So there's a lot needs to be done. There needs to be much more funding. But I do believe that the alternatives like walking, exercise, because it creates more endorphins, even things like I said, like painting, going to art fairs, doing something you can find that can calm you down. And sometimes it's a case of, and it's not easy, it might be supportive family, it might be supportive friends. Nowadays, there's forums online. People, and I think that's one of the things, people can share experiences and advise others, which is good.
So my final question to you is, as a man, as a black man, what would your advice be to any black man or any men in general?
Okay, yeah.
Listening to your podcast, what would your advice be?
Okay, I think I was telling you, Charlotte, that yesterday was, I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but I think was talk day, or talk it out day. I think that's what it was called. It was just encouraging people to share. And I remember, I can't lie, there was a time, God, it's well over 10 years ago. I think I spoke to someone, then it was a doctor's or something. And it was partly to do with my sister, partly to do with me. And I remember there's this term, and it's still, I think it was the Irish lilt of the man, and he said about bottling things up. And I don't know, that term stuck in my brain, bottling. When things, you pour a liquid or substance into a bottle, it gets to a point, it overflows. And if you put a cork on it, that's worse.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to pour these things out. And I've noticed there's people I've known who, in some cases, they've had, and I know how it sounds, but they've men, and it's men, I'm thinking of men that they've cried. And it's almost as if the tears have washed them out mentally and washed out all the baggage they had, and they could start afresh. But talking to somebody you can trust, it's not going to be easy. I can't deny that. And that's the thing with men, it's easy. I suppose it's sometimes we hide behind bravado, we hide behind our success with short-term relationships, behind sports, behind acquisitions, behind achievements. And what's going on within, and it's very, very difficult. I mean, I look back and I think about in the teens and 20s, that there were certain things maybe I should have said. There's certain things I've realized people I knew should have said, but you couldn't. There was no way you could say those things. And as you grow older, the realization now comes. And so that's why I'm saying, if you can find somebody you trust to talk to about what you're going through, about anxieties, and sometimes that's how it is. It's a case of, can I be who I want to be? Can I really express myself? Can I achieve what I want out of life? Who am I? And I know that who am I sounds odd, but some people are really struggling with, who am I? What am I here for? What's the point of this?
Yeah.
And it sounds really existential, but
you know, like for a man, you know, and I get for a woman, but for a man, you're the husband, you're the father, you're the
elder brother.
You're the provider, you're the brother, you're the son, you're the uncle, you're the this, you're the that, you know, and it's like, you know.
The role see you as. And because I'm even thinking, okay, like my immediate family is kind of small. And if you look at it, my sister went through tough mental health problems over half her life. I didn't always it took me a while to even go and start looking and trying to understand what she was going through. And people, and so I just want to say this quickly that someone once explained to me that when your sister gets irritated with you and gets angry at you, it's because sometimes your words, my words to her, they act as if I'm scraping my nails down her skin, that she's very sensitive. And I think that's what it is, the sensitivity. Sometimes, and I remember one of her friends told me, Manny, whatever your sister says, don't argue with her, just listen. And I think that's what it is. I would also like to say to others, sometimes you just need to listen to another person. Don't judge them. Just listen. They need to get it out of their system.
Please, Manny, say that again, because people.
Well, I'm guilty because I don't listen. Even till now, even though I've been told that I did do my best with my sister, I could have done better. Must be honest. Just listen. Be calm. Just listen. And also, even sometimes I've also realized, even just giving somebody a hug sometimes.
Yeah.
That all helps. That transfer of energy, and it is a transfer of energy.
Yeah.
Some people don't want. I can understand, so you have to judge it. But I would say, listen, and hopefully you can also find someone. Listen to others who are going through, someone who wants to share it with you, and be ready to not to judge them. And hopefully there'll be someone, if you are the one going through anxiety, depression, any other mental health situation, there'll be someone out there that can listen to you. There's different, like I said, there's different forums online. So within the UK, there's Mind, M-I-N-D, there's CALM, which is Campaign Against Living Miserably. There's SANE, S-A-N-E. There's anxiety.co.uk. I know I'm mentioning all UK charities, but there's I'm sure wherever you are, whether you're in Kenya, because I've seen there's some 2 people in Kenya, maybe there'll be more soon, people in Nigeria. How would I do? People in, I think some in New Zealand, some in Australia.
Yeah.
Not gonna do the Australian accent, don't worry. But big up the Kiwis and big up the Aussies and everybody else listening. Hopefully within where you're living and within your geographic area, I'm hoping if you go online that you can find genuine charities who do want to help, and if you can talk. But sometimes I would say we're dealing with something, but we're even afraid to talk. And it makes it worse. And it becomes like what's that word? A cycle of negativity and a cycle of destruction. Because you have a problem, you can't talk to anyone about it, you're afraid of talking about it, and it makes that original problem even worse. And it goes round and round in your head. Makes your head so hot, so horrible. So I hope you can find someone you can trust, someone who won't betray you, someone who will listen to talk to. I hope there is an organization in your area that can help you with that.
Well, thank you very much for your interview, Manny. And hopefully,
thank you for the opportunity.
People will, people will listen to this and they'll be very encouraged. And yep, I will put all them links up when I do your podcast. So thank you very much.
No problem. We'll try and look for some more links as well.
Okay then. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.